Hey, how are you? This is Dave again. We are going to continue our setup. In this video, we are going to add the additional details to our supply items. That's things like the categorization and the storage location names. We'll go ahead and click it and get started. Now, right from the beginning, I want to point out at the top of the page, when you're using the drop downs, if you notice that you left out a location name for an item, you can come up to the top here and you can add it, and it will appear in the drop down. It won't be alphabetized at this point, it'll be at the bottom. But when we're finished with the setup page, the location will alphabetize itself into the list. And also with category, you can do the same thing. If you go to add the category of something, you notice it's not there, just come on up here, add it, click add category, and it will appear at the bottom of this drop down list. So this sets up very similar to the page we just finished. Choose your location. Where do you store this? And right from the beginning, I can see I forgot to put the dining room in the restaurant, and we keep this in the beverage counter. It's underneath. So let's just put beverage area, add location, and then we can come over here, and there it is right at the bottom. Now these are on the can rack, and once again I know I'm going to have a few in a row. There's artichokes. We can click this if we want to, or we can just click can rack and keep moving along. Okay, so that gets me to the bottom of column 1. We're going to go ahead and return to the top. And start with categories. And that brings us to finishing the third column. Now this column was added as an afterthought, and there is a chance by the time you see this video, it may actually have been moved, in which case this video is in reproduction. But for right now, what this ideal PMU column is used for, and you can go ahead and click saved items and we can come back and I can re-explain this to you. It'll make more sense. If you look at the page here now, we have your locations, we have your categories, we have all the measurements we had before. The ideal PMU column is information that we are gathering for a feature that's in development. And basically what it is the number of PMU units in one LCU. So if your process measuring unit and your common measuring unit for the price is both count, then the ideal PMU would be 1. There's 1 and 1. Something like al dente pizza sauce, how many ounces are in the number 10 can? And I believe it's around 110 or 111. So I'm not going to go ahead and fill these numbers in here now in this video because I don't actually have the data in front of me. But there are drained weights on things like the artichokes. There's ounces in a gallon for things like your vinegars and your dressings. Ounces in a pound for certain items. So if you know what these things are, then you can use from the dashboard, or also you can start to see a little of Cherry's functionality here on this page. If there's data that needs to be filled out, the software will always let you know with messages at the top of the page. So you can go ahead and click here, and it will bring you to the same thing to fill this out that you would see if you were on the dashboard, where it says you have an incompleted step still. So just because we saved in the middle of that page, the page was still incomplete. Now you can go ahead and fill this information in, but it's tough to do this column from memory lots of times, and like I said, this column will eventually move, but for right now it might actually be easier for you to fill this information in one item at a time here on this page, on your manage items page. So anyway, you can make that decision, but regardless, once you fill in a value for ideal PMU for every single item, then this step will disappear. Now, before we actually end this setup video, there's another thing that needs to be done. When we originally created our first business location, our first business profile, right here, the business locations, there was a field for par level, enable par level. Well, we're at the point now where we need to start thinking about setting up par levels. So now it's time for us to go ahead and enable that feature. Click Update. And now when you return to the dashboard, what you're going to see is there's a new step in here. And remember, this step will be gone once you finish filling out your ideal PMUs. But the next setup video for you to go to is actually going to be here. Now this step has appeared, being that we enabled par levels in the business locations. So you can go ahead and watch this video and resume your setup. If you have any questions, please contact us, and good luck.